Your voice is more than sound. It's a mirror of your soul. Have you ever paused, truly paused, to listen to your own voice? Not just the sound of it, but the essence behind it. The rhythm, the tone, the language you instinctively reach for. Most people don't. We speak on autopilot, unaware that every word we say is quietly painting a picture of who we are beneath the surface. But what if I told you that your voice is not just noise? It's your emotional fingerprint. It's a reflection of your upbringing, your mindset, your self-worth, even your unspoken fears. The way you speak reveals what you've absorbed from your past and what you believe about your future. Your words, your pauses, your inflections, they're all shaped by years of experience, family dynamics, cultural influence, and hidden beliefs etched deep into your subconscious. It's more than just speech. It's identity made audible. Think about it. Some people speak and immediately radiate presence, not because they speak louder, but because their voice carries clarity, intention, and inner alignment. Others may say all the right things, but their energy betrays hesitation or insecurity. Your voice is not a random trait which... It's a living reflection of your internal world. And once you begin to understand that, you unlock the power to reshape not just how you communicate, but who you are becoming every time you speak. Because your voice tells your story. Even when you're not aware, you're telling it. The words you use are the thoughts you live. Most people think language is just a tool to describe reality. But what if it's far more than that? What if language isn't just how you express thought, but how you create it? Every word you use becomes a thread in the web of your thinking. The more empowering your vocabulary, the more empowering your mindset. The more limiting your language, the more you unconsciously cage yourself inside beliefs you never intended to carry. Think about it. How often do you hear yourself say, "I can't do this. I'm not good at that. This is impossible"? At first, they sound like harmless phrases. But in truth, they are mental blueprints, repeated often enough to become walls. Quiet, invisible barriers that shape your entire sense of possibility. Your language becomes your internal landscape. You don't just speak from your mind. You build your mind through your speech. And the most powerful part? Your brain is always listening. Every sentence you say isn't just heard by others. It's heard by you. Spoken thought feeds into your subconscious, reinforcing who you believe you are, what you think you deserve, and how you move through the world. But here's the shift. If you change the way you speak, you begin to change the way you think. Words like, "I'm learning," "I will," "I can figure this out," spark resilience. They create space for growth, for strength, for transformation. Because language doesn't just reflect your world, it builds it. So choose your words like they matter, because they do. More than you know. Your tone speaks what your words cannot. You can say all the right words, but if your tone doesn't match your intent, your message will fall flat. People may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel when you said it. That's the hidden power of tone. You see, communication isn't just about content. It's about energy. Your voice carries a vibration that speaks directly to the hearts of others before their minds even process your words. A warm tone can make a stranger feel safe. A sharp tone can turn truth into insult. A calm voice can turn chaos into clarity. And yet, most people don't even realize the emotional signals they send with every syllable. Science backs this up. Studies show that only 7% of communication comes from actual words. A staggering 38% comes from your tone of voice. The pitch, the cadence, the emotional undertone behind every phrase. The rest, it's body language, which means your tone alone carries more weight than all your carefully chosen words combined. So ask yourself, what is your tone really saying? You might say, "I'm fine." But if your voice is cold or distant, people won't believe it. You might say, "I believe in you." But if your tone lacks conviction, it won't inspire anyone. Because in the end, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it that people remember. Your voice is your emotional fingerprint. It's what makes your message human, powerful, and unforgettable. So if you want to connect, truly connect, don't just choose your words carefully. Speak them with tone that aligns with your truth. That's where your real power lives. Your brain believes every word you say, even when you don't. What if the most powerful voice shaping your life isn't the voice of others, but your own? Every day, you speak words, out loud or silently in your mind, that quietly build the blueprint of your identity. And what most people don't realize is this: your brain is always listening. Every time you say, "I'm not good at this," "I always mess things up," or "I can't handle it," you're not just venting, you're programming. You're teaching your subconscious who you are. And it believes you. Not because it's true, but because you keep repeating it. Your voice becomes your internal narrative. And over time, that narrative becomes your self-image. You're not failing because you're incapable. You're failing because you've told yourself that story too many times. But here's the powerful shift. You can rewrite the script. If you start saying, "I'm figuring it out," "I'm learning," "I've got this," your brain begins to believe that too. And when your inner voice shifts, so does your identity. You begin to show up with more confidence, more resilience, more strength. Not because everything is easy, but because you've changed the way you speak about yourself. This isn't a trick. It's neuroscience. Self-perception theory tells us that we become what we consistently express. So choose your words with intention. Speak like someone you're proud to be, because the most important audience you'll ever speak to is you. And the moment you change how you talk to yourself, you begin to change who you become. One word, one belief, one empowered sentence at a time. Your pace reveals your power. Confidence doesn't always speak louder, but it always speaks slower. There's something magnetic about a person who isn't in a rush. Someone who speaks with calm, steady rhythm. Who lets their words land, who isn't afraid of silence, who doesn't sprint through sentences just to fill space. You feel it, don't you? That quiet strength, that subtle authority, that presence, because your pace speaks volumes, even when you don't realize it. When we're anxious, we speed up. We try to outrun our own uncertainty, thinking if we just talk fast enough, maybe we'll sound like we know what we're doing. But deep down, the listener feels it. That subtle edge of nervousness, that unspoken tension, and yet, the most powerful speakers, the ones who move people, who lead, who command attention, don't rush. They pause, they breathe, they create space around their words, because they're not trying to prove something. They already believe in what they're saying. Pacing is presence, rhythm is authority, silence is power. Every pause is an opportunity for your words to echo, not just in the room, but in someone's mind. And the more comfortable you are with that space, the more others lean in to listen. So ask yourself, are you rushing through your voice the way you rush through life? Or are you grounding your message with intention? When you slow down, You show up differently. You speak with clarity, not chaos. Confidence isn't about volume, it's about control. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just a pause that says, I'm here, I'm centered, and what I say matters. Your words are the borders of your mind. The way you speak shapes the way you think. And the vocabulary you carry is the limit or the liberation of your inner world. Think about it. If you don't have the words to describe what you feel, you struggle to understand it, and even more to overcome it. Your vocabulary is more than a tool for expression. It's a mirror of your mental depth and a gateway to clearer, more powerful thinking. A person with a rich vocabulary doesn't just sound articulate. They think with more precision. They notice subtleties. They connect ideas faster. They understand emotions on a deeper level. Why? Because language shapes perception. The more words you have, the more layers of reality you can perceive. Imagine trying to describe a feeling, but all you have is sad or angry. What about disillusioned, restless, resentful, or overwhelmed? Each word carries a nuance, and each nuance gives you insight, clarity, and control. Limited language leads to limited thought. Expanded language leads to expanded awareness. So if you want to elevate your mindset, don't just change what you say. Upgrade the language you think in. Learn new words. Practice using them. Stretch your mind beyond what's familiar. Because every new word you master is like adding a new lens to your mind, one that helps you see the world and yourself more clearly. And clarity is where transformation begins. Your voice carries the echo of where you've been. Long before you ever chose your words were chosen for you. Your voice, the way you speak, the phrases you reach for, the tone you naturally adopt, is not just yours. It's a reflection of everything you've absorbed. Your childhood home, your family's rhythm, the culture that raised you, the classrooms you sat in, the voices you grew up around. You didn't just learn language, you inherited it. If you grew up in an environment full of encouragement, chances are your voice carries optimism, belief, boldness. But if your surroundings were critical or dismissive, you may still speak with hesitation, apology, or quiet self-doubt, even when your heart is capable of so much more. That's the invisible weight we carry. Speech patterns that don't reflect who we are, but who we were taught to be. But here's the truth. You don't have to stay there. You have the power to break the mold, to strip away the layers that don't belong to you, to speak not from conditioning, but from clarity, from conscious choice, not inherited habit. Yes, your voice carries echoes of the past, but it can also carry the sound of your awakening. Because once you realize that your speech was shaped by your environment, you gain the power to reshape it. And in doing so, you don't just reclaim your voice, you reclaim your identity. Your voice is a bridge or a barrier. Every time you speak, you're doing more than just sharing information. You're building connection or creating distance. Your words have weight, yes, but how you use them, your tone, your rhythm, your energy, that's what determines whether people lean in or pull away. Human connection lives in the subtle spaces between syllables. It lives in the warmth of your voice, in the pauses you choose, in how you make people feel when they're around you. We are wired to respond to what feels familiar. That's why we unconsciously adjust our speech, mirroring others' pace, tone, or expressions to create a sense of trust. This instinctive act, known as linguistic mirroring, is more than just social skill. It's emotional intelligence in motion. And it's the reason charismatic people draw others in so easily. They don't just speak to be heard. They speak in harmony with the room. They adapt, not to impress, but to connect. Similarly, code switching, the ability to shift how we speak in different settings, reflects a beautiful complexity within us. We carry many versions of ourselves: the professional, the friend, the child, the leader. And each version speaks differently, not because we're inauthentic, but because we are layered, adaptable, human. But in all this shifting, there's a question that echoes underneath it all. What version of you is speaking now? And is it aligned with who you truly want to be? Because your voice isn't just your sound, it's your invitation to trust, to connect, to belong. And when you speak from presence, not performance, people don't just hear you, they feel you. When screens speak louder than souls, we're more connected than ever. Yet somehow, we speak less like humans and more like machines. Technology has transformed how we communicate. Texts, DMs, voice-to-text, emojis. They've made everything faster, easier, more efficient. But somewhere along the way, we've begun to trade depth for speed, emotion for convenience, presence for productivity. Have you noticed it? The way conversations feel shorter, shallower, fragmented, the way we rush to reply with abbreviations instead of emotion. The way a thumbs-up emoji now replaces an entire heartfelt sentence. Our speech, once a sacred form of connection, is being reshaped by digital habits. And without realizing it, those habits are leaking into real life. We talk faster, we interrupt more, we struggle to stay fully present in long conversations. Our attention spans are shrinking, our silence feels awkward, and our emotional vocabulary is fading, replaced by reactive language and digital shorthand. But here's the truth. Your voice was never meant to be processed like a notification. It was meant to be felt, heard, remembered. And in a world that's racing toward artificial everything, your authentic voice is a revolution. So slow down, speak with warmth, pause without fear, express what you actually feel, not what fits in a character count. Because while technology evolves, the human heart doesn't. And when you choose presence over autopilot, conversation over convenience, connection over clicks, you reclaim something sacred. You reclaim the voice that was always meant to move people, not just reach them. The voice you use today shapes the life you live tomorrow. Most people never realize the truth. Your voice is not just how the world hears you. It's how you shape your future. Every word you speak is more than sound. It's a signal, a message not only to others, but to yourself. Your voice tells the world what you believe, how you carry yourself, what you think you deserve, and whether you even believe you belong in the room. But the most important listener of all, your own subconscious. Every time you say, "I'm not good at this," your brain takes note. Every time you say, "I can't," it rewrites a small piece of your identity. And over time, those words become a story. One you start to live out, whether you meant to or not. But the opposite is also true. When you say, "I'm learning," "I'll figure it out," "I've got this," you're doing more than talking. You're building a new version of yourself. You're shaping confidence, cultivating strength, creating the mindset that leads to growth, to progress, to possibility. This is not just motivational fluff. It's psychology. Self-perception theory shows us that we become what we consistently express. So speak like someone who's becoming powerful. Speak like someone who deserves to be heard. Because you do. You're not just using your voice to communicate. You're using it to create. And every time you speak with purpose, with clarity, with confidence, you're not just influencing your world, you're transforming it. The way you speak is the way you live. If there's one truth to carry forward from all of this, it's this. Your voice is more than communication. It's creation. Every word you speak, every tone you choose, every pause you take, shapes how others see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Your language is not just a reflection of your thoughts. It's the architect of them. Speak with hesitation, and you'll start to live hesitantly. Speak with confidence, and you begin to embody confidence. The words you use become habits. Those habits become identity, and that identity becomes your future. So be intentional. Replace self-doubt with self-trust. Speak to yourself with kindness. Speak to others with presence. Slow down, be deliberate, and choose words that align with the life you want to build, not the fears you're trying to escape. Because in the end, it's not just about sounding better, it's about becoming better. Your voice is your power. Use it with purpose, and you'll be amazed at what begins to change.